The Academy came to me and said, we would like you to do the Governor's Ball, 2,000 people in 2 nights, and I like a good challenge, so I said, let's go, we will do the Governor's Ball. And that was in 1994. We went out to a farm about 5 months ago where we said to the farmer, grow us 5,000 pounds of Yellon tomatoes for the Emmys. Picked the day before the Emmys and served the next day to all the people at the Governor's Ball.
We finally arrive where the dinner will be held, and we realized that they had mashed potatoes with one of their dishes, and the mashed potato overnight became sour, so you couldn't serve that. So what we had to do is we had to produce new mashed potatoes for 3,000 people. So it was a total stressful experience for everybody. So I sent everybody to all the 30 or 40 supermarkets in town, buy all the potatoes they had, and buy a lot of dried potatoes, and bought the cream, the butter, etc. And we got it just done in time that we produced fresh mashed potato for 3,000 people. This was the most stressful experience I ever had in my life. So my story started a very, very long time ago. When I was a little boy, my parents had a restaurant and a hotel in the southern part of Germany. And I always was around food, people, and I helped often in the kitchen as a young boy to make a couple of cents an hour. My father was very greedy in a sense. He never paid me enough money, but so I developed the skill a little bit when I was young. Then I went to a normal apprenticeship in Germany, and then I went into the world, and my first job was in Holland, in The Hague, in a Swiss restaurant. After that, I moved around to Canada, to Israel, to Sweden, to Norway, and I ended up, when I was 22 years old, in France, in the south of France, it was a huge hotel, it was called Hotel Negresco. The Hotel Negresco was world famous, and they just got a new chef, and his name was Jacques Maximin. So Jacques Maximin was one of the top chefs in the world, and I applied there. I got the job and became chef associate, which is the third person in the kitchen. After 8 months, I was promoted to sous chef, and sous chef is the second rank person in the kitchen, and we had 63 cooks. And I was the only foreigner, I was the German guy. And I went through hell there because a lot of the French people, they were part of the Second World War, and they were very much against Germans. But I succeeded, and I stayed there 4 years ago, and I moved on to the United States, where I started in a private club that was owned by David Murdoch. David Murdoch is a billionaire. He owns Stoll Corporation. He's worth about $5 to $10 billion. And I was the opening chef for the club. Everybody and anybody in Los Angeles was part of the club. And from there I decided I really want to open my own restaurant. So in 1988, I went out and looked for a location, and I found the location. Then I put together a limited partnership, which basically indicated I looked for $25,000 per person to raise $650,000 to start my own restaurant. And that was at the end of Melrose. And at the end of Melrose, it was not a very good location, but so we opened the restaurant for $650,000, and the first day we were full. We got a great review from the LA Times, London Times, New York Times, and we were right away established one of the best restaurants in town. And we were highly successful, and we returned 110% to the investors in 15 months, which was unheard of. What makes the restaurant successful is consistency. If you're not consistent, you will fail. And this is in my opinion, this is in any business. If you're not consistent, if you don't consistently deliver an incredible product, incredible service, incredible hospitality, you will fail. Because every business has to do with hospitality. If you're in the computer business and people come to your office, you need to make sure that everything works well, that they're well received, that they have a great experience. And I think that's what we deliver over the last 30 years. And that makes us different. I have a unique talent. I'm very talented from a chef standpoint, but I understand the business as I understand being a chef. And that translated for me into success. The other thing, what I did early on, I didn't talk about this before, when I grew, every time I opened another restaurant, I put one of my senior people who were with me for 2-3 years and gave them 5% of the restaurant. So they felt all like they are the owner of the restaurant. They took it at heart, and that's how we achieved better numbers, better results, a better ROI than anybody else. And I think that's important also. You need to share with the talented people around you, because you can't grow alone. So at the end when we sold, I had about 6 different partners, and one of the partners got a $2 million check at the end. And he was in his 40s.